It appears President Trump will sign a border security deal to avoid another partial government shutdown. Now, the agreement would include $1.3 billion for support on the border, which is short of the $5 billion Trump originally asked for last year, but more than the $1 that Nancy Pelosi said that she was going to give. However, the White House says Trump could have other options to fund the border wall. For the 360 View, we have to bring in our political panel, Nick Abrana, National Director for Movement for a People's Party, and Alfredo Rodriguez, GOP strategist and founder of Dice Communications. Thanks for joining me, gentlemen.
Great to be with you.
Okay, so I'm going to start with you, Alfredo. Do you actually expect President Trump to back the deal to avert another government shutdown and avoid him having to declare an emergency?
Well, let's make one thing clear very up front, and that is that the funding bill that the Democrats will be sending the president is hugely inadequate, inefficient, and a clear political posturing to the open borders contingency of the Democratic Party. Now, that said, the president has already expressed that he doesn't want another government shutdown. He's expressed that a government shutdown would be a terrible thing. So I ultimately believe that he will sign the bill.
Right.
He will then use means available to him to continue building the wall, finish building the wall, and then live up to his promise to keep America and Americans safe.
But Alfredo, listen to what you just said, that he'll continue building the wall, that it's a failure bill. This is what the Democrats said. Isn't this another win for the Democrats? Doesn't this make President Trump look weak once again after he's not able to get what he has said he was going to accomplish by getting the full amount to pay for the wall?
Absolutely not. We now have Democrats on record as being obstructionist and being soft on border security. So now, as we continue to see record amounts of heroin and fentanyl crossing our border, ravaging our communities, killing our youth, as we continue to see law enforcement, sons, daughters, spouses murdered by the hands of criminal illegals, that blood will be on Democrats' hands for inadequately and inefficiently giving us the means that we need to secure our border.
Well, that's the thing, Nick. Are you surprised that the Democrats have been able to hold out on wall funding? In this case, it's more than the $1 Nancy said, but it's still much less than what President Trump said. Do you think that this is a win for Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, and that we're going to see a victory lap being taken once this bill is signed?
Oh, I do think it is a win for the Democrats. But I also think that that's not exactly the right question. The right question is this a win for working people? Is this a win for people who 30 million Americans, who lack health insurance, people who live in polluted communities, both on the border and across the country, people who are drowning, people in my generation, millennials who are drowning in student debt? This does nothing for them. In fact, Democrats have capitulated to the notion, they have validated the notion that border security is somehow the leading issue in the United States, that racist notion. They've capitulated to that again, and by giving him $1.3 billion. And so that, I think, is the bigger question, that there's a discussion going on between these two establishment, elitist political parties that are funded by Wall Street corporations that has nothing to do with the real issues in working people's lives.
And yet, Nick, that is what we're talking about. That's what the majority of the mainstream media, that's what we saw 2 rallies this week on the border actually holding by both sides of the issue. This is obviously a priority of both major parties. So therefore, it is something that we do need to affect. And they make it look like the people are affected. So in that case, are you saying that we should just abandon all conversation about immigration reform right now in our country because it's not winning for the people?
I'm saying that the conversation about immigration reform should be tailored more towards those more than 11 million people who are here contributing to society already, and towards integrating them, a pathway to citizenship for them, and recognizing the incredible contributions that they make, and the many times thankless jobs that they take agriculturally, in kitchens across the country, in terms of maintenance, that's where the discussion should be, not the discussion of how do we shut more people out and keep America white again.
Okay, so to Nick's point, Alfredo, you got to wonder, though, he's talking about this is supposed to be about the people, but isn't the Republicans' point that this is about the people and keeping the people safe? I mean, you can talk about economic benefits and social benefits, but if people are not safe in their country because they feel like they've got the drugs, as you mentioned, coming across, isn't this a win then for the Republicans and the fact that President Trump Trump got any spending to try to secure the border?
Well, let's take a look at how this affects working people. Illegal immigrants in this country that are collecting food stamps, that are collecting unemployment, that are collecting disability payments, that are overcrowding our schools and hospitals, that adversely affects the very people that Democrats claim that they care about. Every single time an unemployment check is given to an illegal immigrant or food stamps are given to an illegal immigrant, it hurts the most disadvantaged American families in our country. So that argument that this is a win for the American people is absolutely bogus. It's not a win for the American people. It is taking money away from American families that need and deserve that aid. Illegal immigrants are fleecing America's safety net.
Well, thank you, Nick and Alfredo, for on this continued conversation. We'll see what President Trump does.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.